Story 1. At the heart of it, a good grasp of the rule that a relationship, especially a marriage, is a give-and-take type of affair. Story 2. The primary criterion is that she understands I am just as human as she is. When she feels emotions, so do I. Her female perspective is not inherently superior to my male perspective. There are many other important factors, but this one serves as the foundation for them all. Unfortunately, many women struggle with this understanding today. Story 3. Do not hold her past as the measure for her future. The ability to discern when and whom to trust. To view her partner as worthy of empathy and to listen without judgment. No man should ever feel like he cannot cry in front of his partner. Story 4. Humility. Of the current 7 billion humans on the planet, maybe 20 or 30 are important enough to be in a history book. I am not one of them, and neither are you. Story 5. She understands that communication is key for two adults to build a life together. This makes them partners and equals who will experience and process things in different ways without engaging in a right versus wrong debate. She enjoys showing she cares in various ways, whether it's cooking delicious meals, sending thoughtful messages, or dressing up in a fun costume. Whatever it looks like for her is a way to express her love for me. She does this because it's her idea. She knows it will make me feel loved, and she genuinely wants that for me. She wanted to marry me too. These are the main points. Story 6. A good woman, not necessarily a nice woman. I pay attention to what she does, not what she says. Story 7. My only criterion is someone I want to always be around. Everything else is negotiable. Story 8. Must have integrity. Be loyal, trustworthy, and reliable. Good communication skills are essential. Be reasonable. Display intelligence, open-mindedness, and a sense of adventure. Have a good sense of humor and be kind. Story 9. She stands by me during difficult times and remains supportive when I express my true feelings in moments of intense stress or sadness. A rare and special person, in other words. Story 10. When you are sick enough to take a day off work, she takes care of you instead of complaining that you have a cold. Story 11. Not too rude or argumentative with him, showing a willingness for compatibility. That's the crux of it, I believe. The rest is negotiable with time, increasing attraction, and improving character. If he wants kids, it's important to show interest in children and pets and to be good around them as well. Story 12. So many qualities just like a good husband should have. Having one terrible marriage and now one fantastic one, I think I will go with loyalty to add to what has already been said. Story 13. Someone I can connect with, who can empathize and not shame or judge me for my choices, who respects me and can work through difficult periods together. My now wife and I chatted online for a few weeks before meeting, and she really ticked all the boxes. When we finally met, she ticked the bonus box. She had a big, attractive figure. Story 14. Love, loyalty, and intellect are essential qualities. If you possess these three attributes, everything else will eventually fall into place, as she is committed to making this work and is intelligent enough to do so, provided that you also share these traits. Remove any of these qualities, and the relationship will unravel. The first two traits are clear, while the third may be less apparent but is equally significant. There is a reason why the divorce rate is significantly lower among university graduates. Story 15. Wifey will always have me in her sights. She will always know that I am here to make her happy, and that she understands how to help me improve, so we can succeed together. Story 16. The only thing I can say is that whatever anyone tells you as an answer will either be a lie, something they think they want but subconsciously desire something else, or they will change their criteria the moment they find it in a woman. In some rare cases, they might express something they truly want and may stick with it in the future. Story 17. It is important to note that no one person is perfect, and these qualities may manifest differently in individuals. Ultimately, what makes someone suitable for a lifelong partnership is highly personal and should align with your values and priorities. Communication and mutual understanding are key to ensuring that both partners feel fulfilled and supported in a marriage or long-term relationship. Story 18. Being responsible and reliable is important. I have been out of the dating scene since COVID-19, But before the pandemic, one thing I found unappealing in many women as long-term prospects was their tendency to be unreliable. They often refused to participate in activities they did not enjoy and frequently changed plans on a whim, which was disrespectful to the time and effort of those around them. Story 19. Honesty is a willingness to admit fault and a desire to learn and adapt, just as I learn and adapt to her. Integrity is essential, along with a lack of foolishness, happiness, and genuine loyalty. I will ask the following questions. 1. If I give you all of my resources, what will you do with them? If I ask you to act in my name, what will you do? When I get sick or injured, will you stop caring about me because I can no longer provide? Is it difficult for either of us to admit fault? Is working toward a common solution harder than acknowledging that we both have different perspectives? Can I trust her, especially at night? Is she mentally stable, or will she put me in a compromising position to get her way? Is there a common goal beyond having fun? Story 20. If I need 5 minutes in the car before I walk in the door, she is not the one. Make my life better, not worse. Story 21. Being my peace in this challenging world of mine. If I feel peace when I'm with her, I need to make a commitment. Story 22. She is not the boss. Just like a great partnership, we each bring a strength that complements the other person. Everything is built together. I am absolutely not taking care of a woman like I would take care of a child. Story 23. Ask yourself, will this woman be a wonderful mother to my children? If the answer is yes, then I suggest you go shopping for a ring. Story 24. This is a question I have been asked many times. My answer is to look for a woman who will be a good mother to your children, and your life will be much easier and better. Anyone can find a woman for a casual relationship, but a good maternal instinct is difficult to find. Story 25. A wifey material woman is kind, supportive, trustworthy, and shares similar values and goals with her partner. She is emotionally intelligent, a good communicator, and committed to building a lasting partnership. However, this term is subjective and varies based on individual preferences. Story 26. Based on what was lacking in my marriage, a partner would need to be kind, able to control her temper, and ideally curious and interested in the world around her. It would be nice to have someone to talk to, but she would also need to have her own life and interests. I raise 2 children and do not want another adult-sized responsibility. However, I am realistic and have more or less given up on the whole idea a long time ago. My marriage was a disaster in several ways, which I do not want to experience again. Story 27. She can be bad at everything else, but as long as she is consistently nice and pleasant to be around, she is at least a B+, if not A-tier wife material. Story 28. Empathy. She values my feelings and perspective, even when they differ from her own. Communication. She understands that conflict does not have to be an argument. It can be something we resolve together. Positivity. I do not mean toxic positivity, but someone who sees the beauty in the world and is excited to share even the most mundane moments with me. Intimacy. In all its forms, emotional, intellectual, and physical. Story 29. Since people are mostly answering the question, what makes a person a decent human being? Instead of what defines a partner, specifically a wife, I will try to clarify. It is not any single quality that makes a woman a suitable partner. What defines a suitable partner are long-term considerations. For me, it is how they manage change, adversity, and conflict. More specifically, I want a woman who is fully aware of and in command of her feminine essence. This means I desire her to be soft, comforting, and dynamic, but also confident in a way that harmonizes with my masculine essence. She should be able to learn and adapt to my needs without sacrificing her core feminine character. She should be capable of nurturing my best qualities and working around my weaknesses. This requires her to acknowledge her own limitations as they relate to mine and be flexible enough for a long-term commitment. This provides a sense of security that I find many women today struggle to achieve. In contrast, women who are not suitable partners lack self-awareness in this context. They tend to be overly independent, seeking equality in a way that can present as either too masculine or too feminine, leading to undesirable dynamics. There is no sustainable polarity, even if it temporarily works. Boundaries are either non-existent or overly rigid, making them inflexible in response to change or adversity. They do not foster a sense of security in my masculinity. Story 30. The concept is similar to that of a good partner. It involves respecting the sanctity of the mind and avoiding excessive arguments. I do not mean being submissive in a superficial way. Rather, I mean not being needlessly combative without justification. Instigating conflict to spark passion can be acceptable, but it becomes tiresome if it occurs too frequently. However, being abrasive solely for the sake of being negative is not acceptable. Story 31. Is this woman someone I can imagine coming home to repeatedly? Will I look forward to this? Will I feel safe and relaxed? Story 32. Able to take accountability for her mistakes, including apologizing and trying to change her behavior or reactions. Sexual compatibility with me. Able to compromise, especially on issues where we disagree. Loyalty. Respect, even when I am not present. She should still respect me. Not lazy. I am very active, and I expect a reasonable effort from her. Not controlling or overly toxic. This ties into holding herself accountable. Acknowledgement of my potential as her long-term partner. She should avoid blaming me for boredom and recognize that peace is valuable. These are signs that she will remain committed as life progresses rather than seeking excitement elsewhere. Fairly responsible. If not, at least willing to support my responsible decisions. If she is, then we can build a future together. Open communication. While many people today are willing to talk, I find that when I express something, they often prefer to respond rather than listen and understand. Story 33. A significant part of relationships involves the actions and words shared by individuals, but another important aspect is the kind of person each person helps the other become. She maintains a balance between dreams and practicality, bringing out the best in you as you do the same for her. While we may argue, it is only because we need to find a way to resolve issues together. Story 34. Effort, empathy, care, and concern. It is frustrating that sometimes I do not know if I am living with a roommate or a wife. Story 35. Emotionally stable, loyal, and a true partner. Not just someone who stays for the good times until challenges arise. Story 36. Best friends have fun together, trust each other completely, can be vulnerable around one another, and enjoy easy conversations. Plus, she is attractive. Story 37. I believe that to some extent all marriages are transactional, but it would be challenging to be married to someone who was too strict about it. It would be particularly problematic if she viewed intimacy as the primary means of obtaining something in the marriage. Story 38. Being caring and considerate while maintaining an open posture and expressing her wants appropriately is important. She needs to be a partner rather than someone who is entitled and focused solely on personal gain. It's about having the right mindset, not just following a set of actions. Ultimately, men want to come home and feel valued by someone. They do not want to return home only to feel like they have to perform for someone without reciprocation. Story 39. She needs to be a responsible adult. This includes maintaining a job, keeping her home mostly organized, taking care of herself, and being able to discuss issues like a rational person. Additionally, she should have a strong moral compass, showing compassion towards others and treating people well by default. It is essential that she is kind to waitstaff and service workers. A good education and a curious mind are also important. I'm not necessarily referring to a graduate degree, but at a minimum, she should enjoy reading and learning. Story 40. Subjectively attractive qualities include kindness, humility, willingness to work through problems, and avoiding hasty conclusions. Story 41. Honestly, I have my depression under control 99% of the time. All I ask is for someone to comfort me during the 1%. Just tell me it will be okay, maybe cuddle, I don't know. That's really the most important thing. Story 42. Kindness and empathy. She puts herself in other people's shoes and thinks about her actions to ensure they are okay. Story 43. Shout out to the Godfather. Feminine, beautiful, and inspirational. The last one is the most important. Can you soothe my soul? Can you provide a calm atmosphere? Can you turn a house into a home? Story 44. Mine ate an entire carne asada fry and rapped, word for word, easy ease, give me that nut. Needless to say, I put a ring on it. Story 45. It is important to understand the basics of humanity and reason. Consider asking questions such as why, what, and when before reacting. Recognize that everyone is equal and strong in their own way. Before questioning your partner, consider asking about their reasons, why they did something when it happened, and what they have been through. Understanding their feelings is essential because your partner is also human, regardless of gender. Story 46. Compatibility and mutual respect are important. I prefer someone who values me time, as engaging in outdoor activities or visiting artistic venues, rather than spending it at a dance club. Story 47. Someone who is very sweet and warm, has a decent sense of humor, and is a responsible, functional adult. Story 48. Emotional intelligence, kindness, reliability, shared values, good communication skills, mutual respect, and the ability to support. Story 49. Someone who accepts me for who I am, shares common values, encourages me to pursue my passions and dreams, seeks to build a life together, and generally gets along with my family and friends. Story 50. You take an attractive woman, someone you feel drawn to, and you enjoy the intimacy and time spent together. You may find certain quirks endearing, and you appreciate their interesting hobbies. There is a mutual desire to care for one another, and both of you are on the same page as a team. Your relationship is a partnership. You are business partners and lovers. It is important to support each other as cheerleaders, as you both want the best for one another and to help each other become your best selves. Story 51. That is different for every person. I do not believe in marriage, but loyalty, equality, caring, love, softness, and a desire not to have children are qualities I appreciate in a partner. Story 52. All those politically incorrect things you can currently say about women, that, on a more spiritual level, someone who is a partner in life, not an adversary. Story 53. Willing to grow and learn, and be curious about new adventures. We both need to explore life together and support each other's interests. Additionally, an important aspect of a committed relationship is being practical. Can you live within your means? Can you help me find solutions to the problems we need to tackle? Story 54. Nowadays, nothing much is happening. Just don't do it. She signs a very strict, legally binding prenuptial agreement so you don't lose anything you brought into the relationship. You might also add clauses that anything you keep separate from her, even while married, stays separate after marriage. This way, you can have peace of mind knowing she's not marrying you for benefits or financial gain afterward. She will only receive half of the accounts and assets that have both your names on them. Story 55. Absolutely no nagging, quarrelsome, or argumentative personality traits or behaviors. Please make my day enjoyable and not stressful. Story 56. Dependable, honest, and supportive. She can handle things on her own and communicate effectively. Story 57. Knows the difference between codependency and interdependency, making the choice between the two obvious. Additionally, has low neuroticism on the 5-factor model scale. Story 58. Feminine qualities include peacefulness, empathy, kindness, nurturing, enthusiasm, curiosity, and health. Story 59. I wouldn't marry someone uneducated, unpleasant, unattractive, uninterested in children, loud, demanding, or who is children from a previous relationship. Story 60. Lack of a history of promiscuity and entitled hypergamy, loyal and low body count. Feminine, not misandrist, and respects herself. Kind, trustworthy, and takes accountability. Story 61. Centered on her partner, she wants children and a family. She has a low number of past relationships, good judgment, and a positive mindset. Story 62. Completely serious and I am aware of the paradox. She wants lifelong love but does not want marriage. Story 63. For me, and I may not be in the majority, faith in God, intelligence, kindness, softness, selflessness, temperance, modesty, and humility, somewhat antagonistically combined with a dark sense of irreverent humor, silliness, and possessiveness, are what I seek. Above all else, I desire a partner who brings me peace during stressful times and who balances me in return. I understand this is a tall order, likely one in a million, or maybe several million. However, I have never been interested in the majority of women. Story 64. That will always depend on the person. Some individuals act as if all men or all women or all members of some other category always want the same thing. That's never the case. Many people are convinced it is, and there are too many valid reasons for that belief. However, those individuals contribute to the stereotype of wife equals bad. Even if both you and your partner share the same convictions about what a spouse should be, if it is based on a one-size-fits-all view, neither of you will be happy. Both of you will feel increasingly forced to play roles that don't reflect who you truly are. People should focus on being themselves and being happy, then find someone who is also happy and true to themselves. If you both match what each other wants and you are both suitable for marriage. No other formula works. Story 65. Respect, consideration, and objectivity are essential. A woman who respects you will never try to make you look bad. A considerate woman will take the time to understand how things impact you. It involves small gestures, such as doing the dishes, and recognizing that you may not be reaching your full potential. It is important to address these issues, or at least take the time to understand your struggles with genuine concern. Objectivity allows you to detach and focus on facts rather than personal beliefs. The truth is always filtered through perspective and emotion, making it subjective. Facts can be proven. The ability to remove yourself and see things as they truly are is crucial for effective decision-making and conflict resolution. Story 66. My wife is the only person I have ever known who truly influences me on a regular basis. I listen to other people, but I pay special attention to her. I don't know what it is about her, but she always has something valuable to say. Story 67. It depends on the person, but for me, it comes down to a sense of teamwork. Someone can be intelligent, kind, funny, hardworking, attractive, or anything else desirable, but if she hasn't considered what she wants from relationships in general and only engages in temporary situations, then that's not conducive to a marriage. Maybe it's just me, but while marriage is enjoyable, it also carries a significant responsibility. My wife has the authority to approve surgeries if I cannot, and that is not something you grant to just anyone. Story 68. What separates a wife from a casual relationship is personality, not appearance. If a woman is ethical, trustworthy, kind, accountable, and responsible, she belongs in the potential wife category. If she lacks these qualities, she is considered a casual relationship. A wife is a teammate in building a life and raising children. A man must know that she will fulfill her role as a mother and support him. It is a serious responsibility. Many women do not possess the qualities needed to be considered wife material. They may be selfish and unreliable and cannot be trusted to keep their promises. Story 69. Empathy is important to me. I want to see things from her perspective and for her to understand my viewpoint as well, regardless of differing political opinions. A sense of duty towards herself and others is also significant. I would like her to share the traits I consider core qualities. Naturally, she also needs to align with my idea of a suitable partner. Moreover, I view someone as marriage material only if I can envision spending the rest of my life with her. Our life goals must align. While a high-paying career or advanced education is not essential, stability is necessary, and I do want children in the future. I recognize this may be a lot to ask for and that it is not easy to find, but I would prefer to remain single than be unhappy in a relationship or cause someone else to be unhappy. I maintain my hopes and strive to adhere to these standards. Story 70. Independent enough to take care of herself but prefers to be with someone. One cannot be a partner if they are dependent. She is passionate enough to maintain her own hobbies, kind above all else. Story 71. 1. Nurturing. 2. Patience. 3. Supportiveness. 4. Trustworthiness. 5. Beauty. 6. Caring. 7. Compassion. Humility. Story 72. If she is open to exploring her sexuality, she deserves a meaningful commitment. Nothing demonstrates trust, dedication, and true love more than sharing an intimate connection with someone who genuinely cares for her. Story 73. Loyalty, a sense of humor, and independence from her friends are essential. She stops going out to bars or clubs unless with her significant other. She is financially responsible and not in deep debt. She does not have a high-stress, low-paying job and maintains a positive outlook on life. She can think for herself. Story 74. If she has a healthy and disciplined lifestyle, it shows in her appearance. Low body fat, long hair, and the ability to care for her family. Now, you only need someone like that with empathy and compatible quirks. Story 75. I heard an old saying, date women but marry a lady. It's not about whether she has traditional values. It's about who you can get along with for the rest of your life. Hopefully, you can lean on each other during hard times and tackle life's problems together. If you make a good team, that's what makes someone marriage material. Story 76. Not currently or ever having been promiscuous, she is kind, takes care of her appearance and health to a reasonable extent, is not too self-absorbed. Ideally without constant pictures of herself on social media, and is not obsessed with politics. She is capable of logical thinking. Story 77. Objectivity is important to me. I cannot tolerate individuals with strong biases and prejudices against others, whether regarding people, countries, food, movies, or any other aspect. A person with such attitudes would not be suited to work with me. Additionally, I value the ability to allow each other personal space. Couples do not need to spend every waking moment together, engaging in activities or pursuing trivial goals. Story 78. Appreciation. My wife is great but has a common habit of forgetting about all the good things I do the second I make some minor mistake. Story 79. She offers to pay her half when going out, or you both take turns paying for each other every other time you go out. She does not use you for money. She initiates texts and phone calls, even if it is just to say hello. She has a good personality. She is consistent in the relationship and does not make excuses for her actions or behaviors. She is a good conversationalist, and you can talk to her about anything, even things you feel vulnerable about. She won't judge you or behave differently after discussing certain topics that might be embarrassing. She is passionate. Her kisses are not always quick, they don't feel forced, and she sometimes initiates kisses instead of you always being the one to initiate. Lastly, physical touch is very important as well. Story 80. Everything that would make someone with blue hair angry and label you a misogynist, really. But in no particular order. Loyal, honest, compassionate and nurturing. Important traits for motherhood. Low body count and imperfect but the best proxy I know of for a lack of promiscuity and shared values surrounding sex and intimacy. Has never engaged in stripping or prostitution of any kind, physically or digitally. Feminine, prepared to let me lead. Takes good care of herself physically and mentally. Minimal, few varieties, private for friends and family only, or even more ideally, no social media. Story 81. I love the fact that there isn't a single reply with strong individual, confident attitude, self-sufficient, empowered, career-oriented, sex worker, confrontational, argumentative, many past partners, single parents. Story 82. Intelligence, a sense of humor, loyalty, honesty, and good communication are important personality traits. On the physical side, I appreciate a bit of muscle, kissable lips, meaning larger lips without fillers, small breasts, prominent nipples, a nice backside, and large labia. In other words, these are the qualities I cherish in my wife and partner of 29 years. Story 83. This experience will vary for everyone. Personally, I desire a woman who embodies traditional values. I feel like I was born in the wrong era. I seek a partner who wishes to stay at home, taking care of the household and children. I know this perspective is quite rare in today's world. My fiancé, although it is not possible at the moment, aligns perfectly with these desires. Kindness, care, and passion are also significant attributes. Story 84. Loyalty is essential. The ability to listen when your partner is speaking, sharing laughter and interests, physical fitness, and a proactive attitude. The ability to let your partner relax in silence when needed. Peace and quiet can be essential. Teamwork. Willingness to allow him to provide, paired with an understanding of the efforts required. No mental games or childish antics. If a misunderstanding occurs, discuss it with your partner and resolve it quickly. Intimacy may seem obvious, but a loving partner understands its importance and is open to it when possible. A family-first mentality and commitment to the relationship. Softness and overall femininity are important. Avoiding barking, arguing, and a domineering attitude is crucial for maintaining a healthy relationship. Someone who enjoys adventures and the great outdoors but is also content in a city setting. A balance of both is desirable. Finally, enjoy your time together. Time is limited, and someone who values it is likely to make a great partner. Bonus points if she loves cats. Story 85. Good mother. Loyal. Maintains good health. Has few past relationships. Communicates instead of arguing. That's about it. Story 86. She keeps him satisfied, his stomach filled, his house clean, and brings him peace. As he builds wealth, he will hire a cleaner and eventually a chef, so she will have only two clear responsibilities. Story 87. There are two types of women: high-value women and low-value women. High-value women strive to be with one man for the rest of their lives. They have walked down the aisle and said, "I do." They also do not have a history of multiple partners. If a man has proposed to you, and you accepted and got married, you are considered high value. Otherwise, you are considered low value. Story 88. Many women are disqualified from being pursued for two reasons. 1. They do not understand their role. They do not know when to be quiet. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.